The imposing warships of the Zarthul Collective darken Earth's skies without warning, their metallic hulls reflecting sunlight as they position themselves over major cities. Supreme Commander Vorax observes the blue planet from his command chair, mandibles clicking in amusement. Primitive weapons, fractured governance, constant internal conflicts. This conquest will be notably brief, he remarks to his officers. Tactical Officer Krenzov approaches with a data tablet. Supreme Commander, our initial scans indicate their most advanced weapons utilize crude nuclear fission. Their global communication networks are fragmented and vulnerable. Estimated time to complete planetary subjugation, 72 Earth hours. Vorax's compound eyes shift to the holographic display of Earth rotating before him. 17 previous conquests had made the procedure routine. Deploy Phase 1 disruptors. Target their military communication systems first, then proceed with standard containment protocols. On Earth, chaos erupts as every satellite simultaneously goes offline. Cell phones become useless pieces of metal and glass. The internet fragments into isolated local networks. In the Strategic Command Center beneath the Pentagon, General Harper watches in horror as screen after screen goes dark. Status report now, she demands, her voice steady despite the growing dread in her chest. A young lieutenant shakes his head. Everything's down, ma'am. Radar, GPS, secure communications, all offline. We're receiving reports of massive ships over New York, London, Beijing, Moscow. What about our defensive capabilities? Nuclear systems are unresponsive. Air defense networks compromised. It's like they flipped a switch and sent us back to the 1940s. In her university laboratory at MIT, Dr. Elena Reyes watches the alien ship hovering over Boston through her office window. Unlike the military personnel scrambling for a response, or the civilians flooding the streets in panic, her scientific mind catalogs details with remarkable clarity. The ship's hull exhibits unusual light-bending properties. The propulsion system defies conventional physics, maintaining perfect stability with no visible exhaust or energy signature. She quickly fills a backpack with research notes and hard drives containing her experimental quantum physics data. As the building evacuation alarm blares, a realization strikes her with sudden clarity. Her theoretical work on quantum field disruption might actually be relevant to what's happening. Outside, military jets approach the alien vessel over Boston. Their ancient F-16s scrambled from a nearby airbase, the only aircraft still functioning after the technological blackout. Dr. Rice pauses on the campus lawn, watching as they fire missiles at the massive ship. The projectiles never reach their target. They simply disappear mid-flight, as if they'd never existed. The jets themselves follow moments later, blinking out of existence without explosion or debris. They're manipulating quantum states, Elena whispers to herself, clutching her backpack tighter. Probability manipulation at a macro scale. In New York, Marcus Chen, a former Army Ranger turned civilian security consultant, helps direct panicked office workers from a midtown skyscraper. Through the windows, he can see the massive ship looming over Central Park. Years of combat experience have honed his ability to maintain composure in chaos, but this is beyond anything he's trained for. Still, his mind works methodically, assessing the situation, identifying variables, looking for leverage, any advantage that could be exploited. It's what kept him alive through 3 tours in combat zones. That same instinct tells him now that humanity's fight for survival has only just begun. As night falls across America, the alien ships begin their descent. Humanity's military might crumbles within 72 hours. Apache helicopters fall from the sky, nuclear submarines surface dead in the water, and soldiers find their advanced weapons transformed into useless metal. In Moscow's Red Square, the Zarthul land in force, their exoskeleton armor gleaming as they establish processing centers. Categorize them by physical capabilities and cognitive function, Vorax orders as he surveys the crowd of captured humans. Standard procedure. The aliens move with mechanical precision, herding people into massive temporary structures that had been deployed from their ships. Inside, humans are scanned, tagged with biomarkers, and assigned to processing groups. The strongest are marked for labor, the most intelligent for study, the rest for resource management roles in the new order. What the commander fails to notice is the spark in the eyes of those being processed, not the vacant acceptance of the defeated, but the calculating gaze of predators temporarily cornered. Marcus Chen stands in line at the New York Processing Center, his body deliberately slumped, eyes downcast. The posture of defeat, but his mind catalogs everything. The six-limbed aliens move predictably, following identical patterns. Their armor, while advanced, has visible connection points at the joints. Their weapons are integrated into their exoskeletons, not separate tools that could be dropped or stolen. Step forward, the mechanical translation voice commands. Marcus obeys, allowing the scanning drone to hover around him. The drone chirps, and the alien processor tilts its elongated head. Anomalous muscle density and neural patterns. Potential security risk. A supervisor approaches, its higher rank evident from the elaborate markings on its exoskeleton. Place in high-value labor category. Enhanced restriction protocols. As Marcus is directed to a different holding area, he catches glimpses of the alien computer interfaces, touch-free holographic displays controlled by subtle mandible movements. Information he tucks away for later use. In Boston, Dr. Rice hides in the basement of an abandoned library, surrounded by books pulled from the physics section and crude diagrams sketched on paper. With all digital technology rendered useless by the alien disruption fields, she's forced to work with pencil and paper, relying on knowledge stored in her own mind. The quantum disruption is selective. She murmurs to herself, noting how certain wavelengths and energy patterns remain unaffected. It's not comprehensive. It's targeted specifically at our technology. A distant explosion rattles the library's foundation. The resistance has already begun, disorganized and desperate. Through the small basement window, she watches as alien drones efficiently triangulate and eliminate the source of the attack. 3 weeks into the occupation, the Zarthul established their primary command center in what was once the United Nations headquarters in New York. Supreme Commander Vorax addresses his senior officers. The subjugation proceeds according to established protocols. Human military resistance has been neutralized. Preliminary resource extraction has begun in sectors 3, 7, and 12. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Mrelzik, displays a holographic map showing small red dots scattered across all continents. We continue to encounter isolated resistance incidents, nothing coordinated or significant. Vorax dismisses the concern with a flick of his upper appendage. Expected behavior from newly conquered species. It will diminish as they accept their place. Proceed with Phase 2 integration. What the Zarthul fail to understand is that for humans, this is not the end. It is merely the beginning of a different kind of war, one that humans have waged countless times throughout their bloody history. A war of resistance, adaptation, and survival at any cost. The rain pounds against the broken windows of an abandoned Seattle warehouse as Dr. Reyes carefully disassembles alien technology scavenged from a crashed scout ship. Her fingers, once only accustomed to pressing keyboard keys, now bleed from the sharp edges of exotic metals. The quantum signature is unstable. She whispers to the small team gathered around her makeshift lab. Their entire network depends on coherence. 3 days earlier, she had escaped her processing center during a power fluctuation, one caused by a lightning strike on a nearby alien facility. Pure chance, but it taught her something valuable. Earth's natural phenomena occasionally interfered with alien systems, a data point the methodical Zarthul seemed to overlook. A former engineering student named Raj hands her a crude tool fashioned from scrap metal. If what you're saying is true, we don't need to match their firepower. We just need to disrupt their communication. Exactly. Elena nods, wincing as she pries open another component. They function as a collective. Every decision, Every action flows through their network. Break that, and they become individuals, and individuals can be defeated. 3,000 miles away, Marcus Chen leads a raid on an alien supply depot in the ruins of Philadelphia. His group moves silently through underground utility tunnels, emerging in what used to be Rittenhouse Square. 24 men and women, armed with a mixture of conventional weapons and improvised tools, await his signal. Move like water, strike like lightning. He instructs the civilians turned fighters. 15 seconds to grab what we need, then vanish. No heroics. Unlike the regimented Zarthal, each human resistance cell develops its own tactics. Unpredictable, innovative, and impossible to counter with standard responses. Marcus learned this approach from studying guerrilla warfare throughout human history. The aliens' reports back to their command center show increasing confusion. Human resistance patterns defy established models. The raid is successful. They capture critical alien medical supplies and a damaged but functional communications device. Before they disappear back into the tunnels, Marcus plants homemade explosives that will detonate hours later, drawing alien forces away from their actual escape route. In a Zarthal command post in what was once Chicago, Sub-Commander Mreldzik reviews disturbing data. Resistance incidents have increased by 73% in the last solar cycle. He reports to Supreme Commander Vorax over their quantum network. And they show concerning variations in tactics. Increased processing efficiency. Vorax responds dismissively. Previous conquests demonstrate that resistance diminishes proportionally to integration completeness. This species appears to be different, Mreldzik suggests cautiously. They do not follow predicted behavioral patterns. Some are intentionally failing their aptitude scans to be categorized incorrectly. In a labor camp outside Denver, a professor of anthropology hauls rocks alongside former athletes, both pretending to be less intelligent than they are. In Tokyo, teenage hackers who escaped processing altogether work to decode alien transmission patterns. In Lagos, former oil workers use their knowledge of subterranean operations to build hidden bunkers. The aliens' greatest miscalculation becomes increasingly apparent. They judged human capability by their visible technology, not by their adaptability, creativity, or tenacious will to survive. While the Zarthal expect compliance, humans plan resistance. While aliens enforce order, humans embrace chaos as a weapon. The spark has been lit. The resistance grows, cell by cell, innovation by innovation. A wildfire the methodical aliens have no protocol to contain. The captured Zarthal officer thrashes against restraints in a converted meat locker. 2 months into the occupation, this marks the Resistance's first successful capture of a high-ranking alien. The creature's exoskeleton gleams under the harsh fluorescent lights, its compound eyes reflecting fractured images of the humans surrounding it. Your species surrendered formally. It clicks through the translator device stolen from an alien outpost. Continued resistance violates galactic protocol. Dr. Reyes leans forward, fascination overriding fear. We never surrender, not really, she explains. Our history is filled with occupied nations fighting back. The alien's compound eyes widen in what appears to be shock. Illogical, inefficient. Once military defeat is acknowledged, further resistance only increases casualties. Marcus Chen steps forward, arms crossed. That's the difference between us. You see surrender as an endpoint. We see it as a tactical pause. The interrogation continues for hours, each revelation more valuable than the last. The Resistance learns that the Zarthal Collective has conquered 17 other species across the galaxy, none of which continued fighting after formal surrender. The concept of guerrilla warfare is completely foreign to their hierarchical society. Their entire civilization is built on absolute consensus. Alina explains to Resistance leaders gathered in the safe house's basement after the interrogation. Every Zarthal knows exactly where they fit in the hierarchy. No individual initiative. That's why they can't adapt to our tactics, Marcus adds. They're waiting for orders that match our actions, but their superiors have no reference point for what we're doing. The most crucial information comes when Dr. Rice shows the alien a diagram of her theoretical quantum disruptor. The officer's physical reaction, a rapid chittering and flaring of sensory appendages, confirms her theory. The Zarthol communication network is vulnerable to targeted quantum interference. Outside the safe house, the occupation grows increasingly brutal. In Paris, the aliens demolish the Eiffel Tower after a resistance cell uses it to broadcast a jammed signal. In Cairo, entire city blocks are vaporized following a successful attack on a processing center. Increased punishment protocols. Supreme Commander Vorac's orders from his headquarters. Their resistance must have a centralized leadership. Find it. What the commander fails to understand is that human resistance has no center to target. In Tokyo, hackers interfere with alien communications without ever contacting resistance cells in other countries. In Rio, street children carry messages between local fighters, invisible to alien surveillance. In Vancouver, engineers develop jammers that temporarily disable alien drones. The Zarthol's frustration manifests in escalating violence, which only strengthens human resolve. For every person killed in alien retaliation, 3 more join the resistance. In his command center, Vorax reviews reports of increasing attacks with mounting frustration. These patterns defy all predictive models based on our previous conquests. He tells his officers, how can they coordinate without a central command structure we can detect? The answer lies in humanity's greatest strength, our diversity of thought and approach. While the Zarthol operate with a singular strategy enforced from the top down, human resistance cells develop countless methods of combat and sabotage. As Dr. Rice works on her quantum disruptor design and Marcus Chen trains more resistance fighters, a fundamental truth becomes increasingly apparent. The aliens may have conquered Earth, but they have yet to truly understand humans, and that will be their downfall. 6 months into the occupation, the resistance transforms from scattered groups into a coordinated global force. The Zarthol notice the change but misinterpret its significance, believing they face a conventional military reorganization rather than something entirely unprecedented in their experience of conquest. In Nairobi, engineers repurpose alien metals to create armor-piercing ammunition. The lightweight alloys, when melted down and recast using techniques developed for limited resources, prove devastatingly effective against Zarthol exoskeletons. What the aliens designed for structural integrity becomes a vulnerability when reshaped by human ingenuity. They don't innovate under pressure, explains a former metallurgist to her team as they work in a hidden facility beneath a collapsed shopping mall. Their technology evolves through meticulous planning, not battlefield necessity. In Berlin, chemists develop compounds that temporarily blind alien optical sensors. The formula, derived from analyzing the residue on captured equipment, exploits a specific frequency vulnerability the Zarthol never thought to protect, because no previous adversary had identified. In Shanghai, urban planners use their knowledge of underground infrastructure to move resistance fighters unseen across the city. Tunnels built over centuries become highways for human forces, allowing them to appear and disappear seemingly at will, leaving the aliens shooting at shadows. Dr. Rice works tirelessly in her hidden laboratory beneath a destroyed London museum. The quantum disruptor prototype sits on her workbench, a deceptively simple device considering its potential impact. Their technology is advanced, but it's inflexible. She tells Marcus over a secure channel developed by teenage hackers using pre-digital radio principles. They never needed to innovate under pressure like we have throughout our entire history. Marcus nods, the grainy video connection barely capturing his expression. Every human conflict has accelerated our technological development. World War I took us from propeller aircraft to jets in 6 years. They've had peace for too long. They forgot how to adapt. The Resistance's greatest advantage becomes increasingly clear. Humans don't just adapt as a species over generations, but as individuals within hours or days. When traditional weapons fail, they create new ones. When conventional tactics prove ineffective, they invent unconventional approaches. In his orbital command center, Supreme Commander Vorax faces mounting criticism from the collective's central authority. Subjugation timelines have been exceeded by 300%. Comes the transmission from the homeworld. Explain this unprecedented delay. The humans employ unpredictable tactics. Vorax responds, mandibles clicking in agitation. They show unusual adaptability for their technological level. Unacceptable excuse. Accelerate processing. Increase suppression measures. The resource extraction schedule cannot be delayed further. The Zarthul escalate their brutality, not understanding that for humans, survival has always been intertwined with adaptability. Throughout human history, the most successful individuals weren't the strongest or fastest, but the most adaptable, those who could observe, learn, and change their approach when necessary. As Dr. Rice finalizes her quantum disruptor design and resistance cells worldwide prepare for a coordinated strike, the stage is set for humanity's counterattack. The aliens, expecting submission, will instead face humanity's most profound strength, our capacity to innovate precisely when our survival is most threatened. The Zarthul are about to learn why countless human civilizations have risen from the ashes of near extinction, and why humanity has survived every catastrophe in its turbulent history, not despite adversity, but because of it. Dawn breaks over New York as the Resistance launches its most daring operation. The plan, developed through the collective intelligence of military strategists, scientists, hackers, and ordinary citizens across the globe, incorporates humanity's greatest strength, unpredictability through diversity of thought. Diversionary attacks erupt across the globe, seemingly uncoordinated and chaotic to Zarthul analysts. In Sydney, resistance fighters target an alien communication relay. In Buenos Aires, they attack a processing center. In Moscow, they strike at a supply depot. The pattern appears random, desperate. They're becoming reckless. Vorax declares from his command center in the former United Nations building, directing forces to crush these scattered uprisings. A final futile attempt before complete subjugation. This critical misreading of human strategy creates the opening Marcus and his elite team need. While alien forces deployed to counter the diversionary attacks, a small squad of resistance fighters approaches the primary command center through maintenance tunnels that the aliens, accustomed to their own perfect structures, never bothered to secure properly. Marcus leads 12 specialists, former soldiers, engineers, and hackers, each chosen for specific skills. They navigate the dark tunnels by memory, communication reduced to hand signals. Above them, the thrum of alien machinery vibrates through the concrete. Dr. Rice clutches the quantum disruptor, a deceptively small device considering its importance. 8 months of work, countless failures, and 3 destroyed labs led to this moment. The device, roughly the size of a shoebox, contains salvaged alien technology reconfigured according to her theoretical models. 30 seconds once activated, she reminds the team as they reach the access point beneath the central chamber. Then every Zarthul system connected to their quantum network will experience cascading failure. Marcus nods, checking his makeshift weapon one last time. Everyone remember, when the systems fail, they'll be disoriented but not helpless. Stay focused on the objective. They emerge into the lower levels of the command center, moving quickly through corridors suddenly left unguarded as alien forces respond to the diversionary attacks. 2 Zarthul technicians fall to silenced weapons before they can sound an alarm. The central chamber looms before them, a vast space filled with holographic displays and alien controllers, the nerve center of Earth's occupation. Dr. Rice positions the device near a primary junction point identified from the captured officer's information. Ready, she whispers, finger hovering over the activation sequence. Marcus gives the signal, and his team launches a coordinated attack on the few guards remaining in the chamber. The aliens, caught completely by surprise, fall before they can organize a defense. Dr. Rice activates the disruptor. For a moment, Nothing seems to happen. Then the holographic displays flicker, distort, and dissolve into chaotic patterns. The Zarthul controllers emit high-pitched sounds of distress as their neural interfaces go dark. When the device engages fully, the effect is instantaneous. The coordinated Zarthul network collapses globally. For the first time in the collective's 1,000-year history, each alien soldier must think for itself, a skill they never developed. Vorax, suddenly cut off from the collective intelligence that has guided his every decision, experiences something entirely new: uncertainty. His mandibles click in agitation as he stares at the humans who have breached his command center. Impossible, he chitlers. Your species lacks the capability to disrupt quantum coherence. Dr. Rice steps forward, her eyes reflecting the failing lights of alien technology. You calculated our capabilities based on what you saw, not what we could become when threatened. The turning point in Earth's liberation has arrived. The sight of disabled alien ships makes for an awe-inspiring spectacle as they hover motionless over cities worldwide. Inside these vessels, confused Zarthul troops struggle to operate systems that always functioned automatically through the now disabled network. Many of the aliens simply freeze, their exoskeletons locked in place as they await instructions that will never come. They don't know how to function as individuals, Marcus observes as resistance forces converge on the New York Command Center. Their entire society is built on constant connection. Dr. Rice nods, monitoring the quantum disruptor's effects on her makeshift scanner. The effect is more profound than I predicted. It's not just their technology that's failing, it's their cognitive processes. All across Earth, the scene repeats. Disoriented aliens facing suddenly emboldened humans. The resistance, prepared for this moment, moves with coordinated precision that the Zarthul, ironically, can no longer match. Human resistance forces swarm the vulnerable ships with makeshift grappling equipment and repurposed construction machinery. Take them intact if possible. Marcus orders over the global resistance channel. Every piece of technology we capture accelerates our advantage. Within hours, humans are piloting alien vessels, clumsily at first, then with increasing skill as they intuitively grasp concepts the aliens thought too complex for primitive minds. What takes a Zarthul years of specialized training, humans manage to comprehend through desperate innovation and cross-disciplinary thinking. A former video game designer recognizes patterns in the alien interface that mirror flight simulators. An airline pilot identifies propulsion principles similar to theoretical models she studied in engineering school. Together, they decode the ship's navigation system in under an hour. In London, resistance fighters secure the alien processing center without firing a shot. In Beijing, the occupying forces surrender en masse, unable to coordinate a defense. In Cairo, humans reclaim their city as alien troops retreat in disarray. Vorax, retreating to his orbital command ship, watches in disbelief as his ground forces surrender to the very species they had so easily defeated months before. Cut off from the collective, his decision-making slows to a crawl. Every option must be weighed individually, a process the Supreme Commander has never had to perform. Impossible, he chitlers to his remaining officers. Their adaptability defies all evolutionary models. On Earth, Dr. Rice works with a global team of scientists to understand and repurpose the alien technology. What would have taken decades of research and development under normal circumstances happens in days through necessity-driven collaboration. Physicists, engineers, programmers, and even artists contribute unique perspectives that unlock the secrets of Zarthul science. They built their society on specialization. Elena explains during a global broadcast from the recaptured UN building. Every individual knows one thing deeply. Humans are generalists. We know a little about many things, allowing us to make connections they never could. Marcus coordinates the military response, organizing captured ships into an impromptu defense force. Former pilots, drone operators, and even competitive gamers are recruited to pilot the alien vessels. What they lack in training, they make up for in adaptability and intuition. As the last ground-based Zarthal forces surrender or retreat to their orbital vessels, humanity prepares for the final phase of liberation. The counterattack has succeeded beyond all expectations, but the war isn't over. Vorax and his command staff remain in orbit, and communications with the Zarthal homeworld suggest reinforcements may be coming. Humanity has reclaimed Earth. Now they must secure the skies. The recaptured alien ships, now piloted by human crews and modified with interfaces designed by Dr. Reyes, rise through the atmosphere toward the Zarthal command ship. Earth's first space fleet consists of 27 vessels, a motley assembly of different alien craft repurposed by human ingenuity in just 72 hours. Inside the lead vessel, Marcus studies tactical displays translated into human-readable format. They still don't understand what makes us different. He tells his crew of former pilots, engineers, and gamers turned space warriors. Every species they've encountered evolved through specialization. Humans evolved to be generalists, adaptable to any situation. The fleet approaches the massive orbital command structure, a construct 10 times larger than the International Space Station. Within its gleaming hull, Supreme Commander Vorax prepares for a last stand, still struggling to process decisions without the collective intelligence he relied on for centuries. "Primitive vessels approaching," reports a sensor operator, the aliens' mandibles clicking nervously. Their piloting is unpredictable, impossible. Vorax responds, but with less conviction than before. They cannot have mastered our technology so quickly. Yet the evidence floats before him on the display. Human-controlled ships executing maneuvers that even trained Zarthal pilots would find challenging. Where alien pilots follow precise, calculated trajectories, humans introduce intuitive adjustments, creative flourishes, and improvisations that make their movements impossible to predict. Dr. Reyes monitors the quantum disruptor network from her position on Marcus's ship, ensuring the Zarthal remain isolated from their collective intelligence. "We're maintaining disruption across all frequencies," she confirms. They're still fighting as individuals. The final battle for Earth's freedom takes place in orbit, visible to everyone below as flashes of light against the night sky. The human-piloted ships dance around the more powerful, but less agile command vessel, using tactics borrowed from aerial dogfights, naval warfare, and even video games. When Marcus and Dr. Reyes finally confront Supreme Commander Vorax on his own bridge, the alien leader experiences his moment of terrible clarity. "You measured us by our technology," Dr. Reyes explains as human forces secure the ship. "You should have measured us by our history, our constant struggle against nature, against each other, against impossible odds. It made us who we are." Vorax's compound eyes reflect the humans surrounding him. "We conquered 17 species. None fought like yours." "Those species evolved to fit stable environments," Marcus replies. "Humans evolved in rapidly changing conditions. Adaptation isn't just something we do, it's who we are." The surrender of the Zarthal command ship is broadcast across Earth, triggering celebrations in reclaimed cities worldwide. As the alien commander formally relinquishes control, he asks one final question: "What will you do with our technology?" Dr. Reyes looks to the stars visible through the command ship's viewport. "Learn from it, improve it, make it our own." That's what humans always do. In the weeks that follow, humanity begins the process of rebuilding. The alien technology, once understood and adapted, accelerates Earth's recovery and development. The message sent to the Zarthal homeworld is clear: Earth is not open for conquest. As humanity looks to the stars with new purpose, they carry forward the lesson that saved their world. Their true strength, the stubborn refusal to accept defeat, the creativity born of necessity, the ability to thrive in chaos, remains uniquely human. The galaxy will never underestimate them again.